Am I the a-hole for sending my younger sister money against my girlfriend's wishes? Plus mini updates. My younger sister, female 25, is working towards getting her master's degree in New York. While she loves the city and school, she hates how expensive everything has become. She does work part-time, but it simply isn't enough. My parents, male 77 and female 73, have been sending her money each month, but since they recently retired, they've had to cut back. To fill the gap, my brother, male 28, and I, male 32, have begun sending some money to our sister from time to time to help with her rent. I have a well-paying job and a close relationship with my sister, so I'm happy to help where I can. However, my girlfriend, female 30, has expressed her dissatisfaction with the arrangement. We've been saving up to put a down payment on a house in the future, and my girlfriend believes that my financial contributions to my sister is hindering our progress. Yesterday, which happened to be the day I usually send my sister money, girlfriend told me that we needed to reduce expenses, and one suggestion she made was for me to no longer send money to my sister. She believes that my sister needs to learn how to manage her money better, and that my brother, male 28, should contribute more. I told her about how I feel irresponsibility towards my sister, and how my brother doesn't make as much as I do. And while she did acknowledge that, she then said I was financially naive, and said she doesn't want me to be taken advantage of. I was kinda disappointed hearing this, as I made a conscientious decision to help my sister, and wasn't falling for some sort of scam. The conversation ended because we both had to go to work, but she told me not to send anything until we've further discussed this. During my lunch break at work, I proceeded to send my sister some money anyway and told girlfriend about this over dinner. She told me that she was disappointed. At this point, I was getting a little annoyed and responded by saying I was not willing to compromise my current arrangement with my sister. Girlfriend got upset with this and left the table. Am I the a-hole? Edit. I make about 15.5k a month and have been putting away 4 to 6k each month towards a future house. Girlfriend makes about 7k a month, currently saves around 1k a month for the house. She said she'll contribute more once her student loans are paid off. I pay for rent and utilities, while girlfriend pays for bulk of groceries. I started sending my sister $1,500 a month since my parents retired. Sister pays $2,800 a month in rent and $350 a month in transportation. I contribute $1,500 a month. Brother pays $750 and parents pay $500. Our mother was terrified of sister living in New York City on her own and only agreed if she lived in a nicer area and had a car. For those wondering, I'm a chemical engineer and girlfriend has been paying about 2.5k a month to pay for student loans. Now for the top comments before reading the mini updates. Do you and your girlfriend share finances? If not, then you are not the a-hole. Otherwise, you are. We don't have a shared bank account. I pay rent and utilities. She pays about 80% of the groceries while I cover about 20%. Then absolutely not the a-hole. I personally would be wary about how someone wants to dictate to you like this about money, especially considering it appears you contribute substantially more shared expenses. And he's already saving 4 to 6 times as much as the girlfriend towards the house. Out of $7,000 a month, she contributes $1,000 towards the house, plus groceries, and $2,500 on student loans. What is she spending 2.5k a month on? How many clothes, etc. does she need? It's your money, and you have offered to help your sister out. I respect this decision greatly. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole, but massive red flags getting thrown around your girlfriend, my man. It would be one thing if you were sending so much money that it was affecting your own financial status, or if your sister was lying or taking advantage of you and your brother, or if your girlfriend was also contributing money and no longer wanted to, or if you were sending shared money. But none of those things are an issue. And literally, your sister is just trying to exist in an expensive city, and her extremely loving and generous brothers are choosing to support her because they can and want to. That's really beautiful. You should really reconsider buying a house and continuing a relationship with someone who prioritizes her own desires so far over yours. She's seriously overstepping and disrespecting, unless she's not telling you some hidden fear or worry here that explains her bizarre self-centered stance. What she's trying to force you into is selfish and caring and just icky. 100% this. The money you're sending your sister is not hindering your monthly bills or savings. You make more than twice what your girlfriend does and are saving way more than she is. All she pays in bills is 80% of groceries, and you pay the rest plus the remainder of the bills. Your girlfriend is very greedy and manipulative. Please look at all the red flags that are being flagged around you. Not a-hole at all. It's a lot of marinara. The way she's trash-talking his family is my biggest concern. Like she wants to isolate him from what sounds like a very supportive family. Now for the mini updates. My girlfriend and I had a long talk after work. It didn't go well. To summarize, tensions escalated during the conversation. I told her that I planned to continue helping my sister until she completes her degree, and afterward, she would either start working or move back to our parents' home until she finds a job. However, my girlfriend expressed her belief that my sister, and the whole family, is manipulating me, and thinks I'm naive enough to send her money regardless of how she uses it. I started to feel increasingly annoyed and defensive by her accusations, and asserted that it's my money and I have the right to spend it as I see fit. I then stupidly said that if she really wanted us to buy a house, she should save more and cut back on expenses like nice shoes, clothes, and purses. At this point, she became properly angry and declared that she couldn't stay in the same house as me and said that she would be going to her friend's house. Before leaving, she said, "Call me when you stop thinking like a freaking idiot." And before I could even think, I replied, "I won't be calling." I feel that I may have irreparably damaged our relationship. Update 2. I want to express my thanks to all of you for sharing your perspectives and insights. Your input is truly appreciated. Following the fight with my girlfriend, I reached out to my brother to confide in him about what happened. His take was pretty optimistic. However, he advised me to stand firm in my position, while also remaining open to fully hearing out my girlfriend and considering the possibility of reconciliation. He cautioned against contacting girlfriend's friend to ask about her whereabouts, as it may smell of desperation, and instead said that he would come over as he lives about an hour away, so we could spend time together over a movie and dinner. At this point, I feel drained and numb. It's been a long day, and to be honest, I just want it over. Update 3. My brother came by and brought dinner. We've been watching The Dark Knight since. Don't know why he chose that. Still haven't heard from girlfriend or her friend. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to pay all the rent and bills? I have been with my partner for 2 years and lived together for 1 year. We split the rent and bills 50-50, apart for 3 months last year when my girlfriend went through a bad period of depression due to her job and missed a lot of work. During this time, I had to pay 75% of everything. This was affordable but barely, and I had to cut back on a lot of things. Now, my girlfriend is complaining about her job again, saying it causing her to feel low and saying she's thinking of just leaving because she hates it there. I tried talking to her about waiting until something else comes along before leaving, since having no money will only add to her stress. She asked if I would be able to cover everything if she left, and I said I couldn't. I pointed out if I did pay for everything, that would mean that pretty much every month I'd end up dipping into my savings, and that after rent and bills and food, I'd have pretty much nothing at all left. She just said it's something I might have to do soon, and I again said I won't be. I said, as crappy as it may be, she'll either have to stay at her current job or pay her half of the rent and bills from her savings. She accused me of not being supportive and started talking about how I knew she hated it at her job and should want to help her. I said I do help her, but that is too much to ask since she knows I can't afford it, and I should not have to dip into my savings just because she quits a job. She again just accused me of being unsupportive. Am I the a-hole for refusing to pay all of the rent and bills? Not the a-hole. What makes it okay for you to dip into your savings to pay bills, but not her? That's not how it works. Her savings are there for times she has no money coming in. If she leaves her job, this will be one of those times. She can pay from her savings and search for a new job before they deplete to nothing. Totally not the a-hole. I get why OP's partner feels desperate. I left a job last year that was really damaging to my mental health, and I completely understand the feeling of losing a little bit of yourself every time you have to go back to that office. It's awful, and I wouldn't wish it on anybody, but I kept going back until I had another job in place, because I can't afford to not have an income. It's a truly terrible reality to have to live in, but it's the one we've got, and OP's partner needs to be realistic about it. and either keep the job until she gets a new one or make sure her savings are enough to cover her expenses in the meantime. Then OP's partner should be applying for other jobs. I don't know why she, or really anyone who quits without a plan, thinks that this is a magical thing that'll just work itself out. She sounds like a freeloader. Not the a-hole. Unfortunately, she is an adult that had to be responsible for herself, whether or not she's feeling depressed. You can be supportive without literally bleeding yourself dry. If she expects this of you, that sounds like a huge character flaw. Girlfriend isn't looking for a supportive partner, just someone to financially support her. On the money, she doesn't want to work. She wants to be a stay-at-home do-nothing. The fact that she isn't even willing to cover her own expenses from her savings means she's just gonna mooch for the rest of her days if she can. Even without kids in the equation, I can see OP making a habit of this to the point he feels trapped. You can be not the a-hole and still make the wrong choice here if you stay in this situation. You need to end this because she isn't in the right headspace to be a good partner to anyone, and she needs to fix that. Even if you don't count the fact you're basically paying for everything, you could probably save enough money to keep afloat not paying her expenses. If she isn't taking antidepressants or whatever her psychiatrist gives her, then she needs to go see one and get a prescription, because you can't choose being basically non-functioning for half the months in a year. If you care for her well-being, sending her back to her parents with the suggestion she gets a psychiatrist before you consider revisiting your relationship will probably be the best thing that happens to her. She will either see how bad she lets things get, or she will choose to be exactly who she is, but as someone else's problem instead of yours. Last story. Am I the a-hole for kicking my son, his girlfriend, and my grandson out of my house? I, 63 female, and my husband, 67 male, ran into an issue with my son last year. During the pandemic, his girlfriend got pregnant. He moved her in with his roommates who were not happy. The roommates left, and they resigned with the landlord just themselves. But his girlfriend couldn't/wouldn't find a job, and lost his job a few months later and couldn't pay rent. They stayed for 7 months and they got evicted. Now they have an eviction on their record, and terrible credit because they lived off of credit card. So they have thousands in credit card debt. I didn't want them moving in. My son, 38 male, lived at home until he was 31, so we had a lot of trouble getting him to move out. But his girlfriend was giving birth soon, so we took them in. They stayed for almost a year, and the deal was, they both get jobs, they help pay utilities and pay off their credit cards and find a place to live. They were only supposed to stay for 6 months, but they wouldn't move out when we asked at the end of 6 months. They said because of the eviction on the record, no one would rent to them. They also didn't make enough to pay utilities, so my husband and I paid more in utilities. And they ate for free as well, since they would take from the fridge and wouldn't buy any groceries themselves. We offered to help them with baby expenses like diapers, car seats, etc. at first, but it's been almost a year and we're still paying for it. They were doing DoorDash but not working more than 3 to 4 hours a day. I kept trying to get my son to get a full-time job, but he just got angry and accused me of nagging him. His girlfriend is also very messy and doesn't clean up after herself. I've changed more diapers and fed her son more than she has, and it's infuriating because they chose to have a child but won't take responsibility. My husband and I have been retired for 2 years now, and we had planned to move to Chile where I am from. We were supposed to sell the house last year and didn't, just to let them stay, but it's now been over a year and we were sick of it. We kept telling them they had to move out, and they just ignored us, so we put our house up for sale. We had wanted to renovate it first, but they wouldn't let us into their bathroom and room, so we decided just to sell it as is. We got a fair offer and closed by the weekend, and told them they had 2 months to move. My son yelled at us for kicking them out and not caring about him, and shattered the decorative vase we had. They finally moved out, and we are in between places and will be going to Chile next month. But my son and his girlfriend currently have nowhere to live. They are staying with a friend now, but they are only letting them stay until the end of the month and then they will have to figure it out. My son yells at me over the phone and tells me I'm never allowed to see my grandson again for kicking them out. I don't know where I went wrong, that he couldn't be an adult and get a job and move out without being forced. Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. He's 38. You were way more patient than you should have been. Not the a-hole. I have a 37-year-old sister who has 2 teenagers. And my mom and I just had a big blow up at each other because my sister got offended I offered her some occupational assistance. That being said, you two also are the main cause of this whole thing. Did you enable him until he was 31 living with you? Did he help with bills then? When people have children while being financially insecure by choice, a lot of the reason is that their parents let them skate by. This is the tough love you should have done ages ago. It's crazy to me that between two people they couldn't even split utilities. They wouldn't let her in the bathroom. Either it was disgusting AF, or they're using and it's disgusting AF. As I told my mom about my 35-year-old brother, sometimes you just have to love people from over there, at a safe distance. I have a hallmark relationship with one of my adult sons. I say nice things like a greeting card, and stay far away. I mean, I didn't move out of the parents until I was 31, but I was paying a rent they were happy with, worked full-time, and was clearly saving for a home. I don't think 30 plus is a reasonable age to move out, provided you had a reason for staying not just to mooch off your parents. I think the situation was the unreasonable part. Not working full-time is the big red flag. Not the whole, but perhaps set up a trust for that kid for when he comes of age, because it sounds like he may need it. Sounds like a good idea if you plan on leaving an inheritance, something completely untouchable until kid is 18 or 21. And then can only be used on higher education or down payment on a home. And only set it up so that his entitled parents can't touch a red cent of it under any circumstances. You may have gone wrong nowhere at all. Some amazing kids came from awful parents, and sometimes rarer. Amazing parents end up raising poop birds. I do worry for the kid, and I think you should call CPS. This baby is a baby, and there is a decent chance of adoption since the two of them can't get it together. If I were you, I'd try to come to peace with never seeing your grandchild, because even if they keep the kid, they will always use that child as a pawn to get money and housing. And anytime you say no, they threaten and remove the child. Your son is nearly 40. I'm so sorry because I know you're embarrassed, but whether you did a good job or a bad job, your job here is done.